Hello and welcome back to EDF3. Let's begin Crimson. Mission 21, actually. Which used to be the funny number before the brain rot came to people. We have the Air Tortoise 2. Because these guys run around on land, right next to each other in massive waves, the Air Tortoise is actually going to be able to deal a decent chunk of damage here. This is because the Air Tortoise, also yeah, these guys are red, which means they have a lot more health. I believe these were originally basically just a recolor of, the normal ones, because that meant that both of them could be loaded in at the same time without causing a, without needing to use up that much more data, which meant they could fit more enemies types on the same level. This is just a guess. Don't be angry at me if I'm wrong. Maybe they just recolored them because it was cheaper in the development sense. Who knows? The Air Tortoise, although it's really slow and really kind of shitty, they completely changed how these weapons work in EDF4, where they you actually have to lock on. It's not quite like it is here, where you just see a big crowd of enemies, point the rocket at them, and then the rocket goes in a completely different direction and still explodes 50 of them. Come on. I'm gonna change... This is what happens every single time I use these, so instead I'm just gonna switch to the... Selected initiating operations. Yeah, our first death. To me. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to just run two of them and hope for the best. It's an army of red giants! But if we run through them, there's a tank on the other side. By the way, yeah, these guys have a lot of health. But we are in a big open plain, so... Learning... Oh yeah, and also, they can't shoot acid at you, they're melee only. Which means that if you know how to corral them, you can, maybe that's not the correct word, I'm sorry. Maybe it isn't, in which case I'm not sorry. Yeah, you can see the water is a little bit problematic. Uh-oh. Yeah, you can get stuck, and at this point, the best solution is to fire at their feet and then run. If you couldn't reload while dodge rolling, this game would be a lot harder. Anyways, yeah, so there's the tank. We're nearly there. Hold forwards immediately when you get into the tank, or I guess backwards if the enemy's in front of you. This time, they're behind us. So... I do not know how much damage the Gigantus does. I don't think it's enough to kill them in one hit. I think these ones are, yeah, these ones were already injured. Maybe not? I don't know. Maybe this... I don't know how the damage is calculated, but I would assume... Okay. Yeah, because you see, this doesn't actually kill them. Okay, get in the big vehicle. Oh, yeah, we should hurry up. So we go down to that armor piece, we turn up, and then go straight ahead into the battle. Although, they're coming towards me, so... How much... I think they do a shitload of... Maybe the cannon does more damage to, soft targets? Yeah, okay, all of the guys here are dead, that's why they moved on to me. Well, it's fine. I think that was self-damage there. Oh, it was. Oh, yeah. So the tank does a shitload of damage, which is, a double-edged sword, as you can see, but as long as you're not a caveman, it's pretty good. If you are a caveman, well, it's fine. Ow. Come on, you ain't gonna do that again, are you? But oh yeah, the enemies will get a little bit confused sometimes. Oh, there's another wave! Shit, I was fucking around and... Okay, so what I'm gonna have to do... First of all that, to waste my ammo. More importantly, so I can reload, more importantly, go back a little bit. And now we do the trick where you wait for the enemy to come to you. Basically, yeah, you want the enemy to come as close to you as you can, and then you want to shoot right underneath them. That is the method that I found works best for the red, bugs. Because the red ones are... Ow. They're just large enough, With the gray ones, they're not big enough, so you can't consistently shoot underneath them, and you'll just end up shooting yourself in the face. But with these guys, it is a lot more consistent. And that's kind of what you want in an EDF game, like consistent tactics. Or if you're more fun inclined, full sending it with stupid strategies. But I mean, I did try that with the Sky Tortoise, and that ended in tragedy for me. Ow. One thing which I do really like about EDF games is that there is no, it's kind of like why a lot of people play something like Bloons. Unless you're doing some, really specific difficult stuff, there is no, best strategy. Oh, good, there's a third wave. It's kind of like Dark Souls in a way, in a sense that, well, the original ones. Because the issue is, right, as Dark Souls became more and more popular, it kind of became more and more popular to have, this one specific, let's call it the LARP playstyle. Where, oh, you have to do it in this way and that way, you can't use shields, you can't use this, you can't use that, you can't use magic, you can't... it's like, oh, you're not a real player if you haven't, that sort of, stuff, because, I guess people are not confident enough in their own gaming abilities that they need to have something over others. I don't know. It is what it is, though. And it's kind of like, this is what I've seen, at least, from discussions with people who have way more understanding of the Souls games than me. I've always been more of a fan of the, other FromSoft games. The Souls stuff's kind of been just it's interesting, but whatever. And no, I'm not talking about the Adventures of Cookie and Cream. I'm talking Echo Knight, I'm talking Armored Core, that sort of stuff. That's what I'm into. Yeah, the Otome game known as Armored Core. But more importantly, the problem which you tend to run into, is, the entire kind of fan base of the Souls games has kind of, it's kind of an issue with a lot of, Souls games, and it's, specifically with the, it's kind of like how I've seen quite a few videos, specifically, not even defending Dark Souls 2, but videos that were a defense of Dark Souls 2, not by, a video that's this is why Dark Souls 2 is actually good, but a video that was debunking a lot of the stuff that was said about the games. Like the hitboxes, where a guy raised an interesting point, which is, if somebody says, oh, this game has janky hitboxes, then, if it's like an action game, if somebody tells you already this game has janky hitboxes, chances are you are going to attribute a lot more of your skill issues to bad hitboxes versus if you assumed the hitboxes are good, when the hitboxes have basically remained unchanged since, I think either Demon Souls or the first Dark Souls, I don't know. Point is, the Dark Souls games have an audience that is specifically fans of, Like, they're specifically fans of the whole one-on-one, like, honorable fight sort of thing, where you have a big sword, and you have to wait for 50 years for the enemy to do the thing, until you can do your thing. And, I mean, it's one of those things where you can't really fault people for the way they play a game, but, it's not as interesting. It's kind of like how in, like, the earlier games, like, what's its name? Like, in Kingsfield, the boss fights are nowhere near the most important factors. Like, the boss fights are kind of an afterthought. The real, like, you know, whenever you ask somebody what did you enjoy the most in, like, I've played a bit of all of the Kingsfield games, and, like, I remember, like, the spider boss from close to the start of Kingsfield 4, the Ancient City, but, like, I don't know, I don't care. That wasn't, you know, that's not what I remember Kingsfield for. I have to say, though, it is kind of crazy how, like, it's gonna be, like, a really stupid take, I'm aware, before I even made it, but a problem I have with, like, the, Souls games, and this is completely a personal thing, obviously, is, just that I feel like it's kind of being over-focused on. Like, okay, I'm happy we got Armored Core 6, and I'm happy that Armored Core 6 actually sold, but the issue is, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the direction that FromSoft has kind of taken is very much in the Souls direction. I will see with, the Duskbloods game, but, I don't know, I'm always a little bit sort of, cynical when I see a new multiplayer game that is basically, you know, I don't know, we'll see. Because it's trying something new, and that's a lot more than can be said for, like, you know, a lot of the games that have kind of flopped in recent times. Like, recently there's been, Highguard, which is, it has this, it's a repeat of Concord, but is shockingly for really similar but also really different reasons. You see, the reason why Concord flopped was because nobody gave a shit. It wasn't even a bad game. It was a completely cromulent, solid fucking video game. It was just not very special, and because it cost money, people didn't buy it. Now, on the other hand, with Highguard, the problem was, so, like, let's see, it's a free game this time. It's actually, in some ways, from what I've read, unique, and with the way it's designed, it will genuinely be an experience you can't quite have anywhere else. The problem is, once more, like, they have a decent concept. They have a game that is actually, like, you know, they have a game that is actually, in at least some ways, original. Problem is, they have failed at the getting people interested part, yet again. Because, to a lot of... Oh, I think I may be dead here, by the way. Shit, yeah. Yeah, I told you! You gotta be careful, man.
We're the only survivors.
When those things get you, they really get you. So yeah, what I'll have to do here is I'll have to shoot at the guy behind it until it dies.
Just a little closer. They're coming.
Come on. Yes, okay.
Somebody cover me, brother.
We'll have to get those guys. Anyways, yeah, like, I feel like a big issue with a lot of the live service games is that the market is just so absolutely bloated that even if you have a good idea, even if you have a good concept, even if, like, the game itself is fun, that's really not enough anymore for multiplayer games, right? You kind of have to be more than just good. And, like, the market is oversaturated. People are spending less and less time gaming. They're spending more and more time on other things. So at the end of the day... Oh shit, I should probably... There's gonna blow up the tank. Run! Like, I don't know. It's a sort of lose-lose situation, I feel. For big companies and for consumers. Because, I mean, that's sort of the problem, isn't it? Like, we lose out on potentially cool games, and they lose out on a shitload of money, and all of the employees are laid off, while, the, fucking CEOs get their yearly salary increase or whatever. But my main point is, even... Oh shit, there's another one still. Even with all of that... The problem is that, like, Highguard was just kind of there. It was, like, you know, I hope with all of this, very recently, we learned that, Bluepoint Studios, the guys who at one point made extremely well-made, remasters of, like, PS2 games for PS3, who made the, I'd argue... missed the point award, Demon's Souls remake. Those guys, they're being shut down because Sony, in their infinite wisdom, gave the team who makes brilliant remakes, most of the time brilliant remakes, but you know, still, I think we can argue they've made, that, like, overall, even if they may have missed at least once, overall, their track record is fucking great. They made them spend a shitload of time and money making a live service God of War MMO, if I remember correctly, and then they cancelled it. Sony just cancelled the project, and because of that, they're shutting down Bluepoint. And that's the end of Bluepoint. Now here's a question: when did PlayStation die as a brand? The answer is whenever they closed the Japanese studio. That's sort of the common online talking point. And the question is that true? And honestly, I have no clue. Because there's a lot of different dates that people like to give to for when, like, for when Sony sort of, like, died in the gaming space. Because they've been coasting off like, live service shit for a while in PS5. Japan Studio itself went defunct in 2021. But I feel like the sort of... I'm gonna call it... Because I feel like the sort of death of Sony may have went whenever they shifted their stuff from Japan to, like, their main offices for PlayStation from the Japanese studio to the, US one. I'm gonna... While we wait for the enemies to arrive, I'm very quickly gonna Google this. In 2016. But, yeah. But I would even argue it's still earlier than that, because we've seen that with how they mishandled the PS Vita. Honestly, I feel like a big issue with, the big issue with PlayStation is that, the sort of... I don't want to blame The Last of Us for it, but I feel like The Last of Us kind of is what blew up Sony. Because... And, like, blew up Sony in a creative sense. Obviously, they're still doing really well. But that's not what I'm talking about. The issue is, right? Sony's, Sony used to make so many really cool games. And then The Last of Us came out. And then every single game that they made slowly started to morph into, like, that sort of game. And, then, you know, at a similar point in time, the PS Vita launched, and Sony just kind of, you know, at the same time, right, with Uncharted, with, that sort of stuff, Sony became, like, very Western-focused at the end of the PS3's life, from my understanding, in order to compete with the 360, I think. And the result of that was death to the Vita. It was death to, like, unique Sony video games. And it's basically the reason why Sony is in the sort of position it is now, where, like, what's a recent Sony game that you can actually name? I guess Helldivers? Yeah, I guess that's there. But, like, it used to be so much more than that, man. Like, yeah, list of Sony Interactive published video games. Original release dates. Yeah, there's, like, MLB The Show, Marathon, Marvel's Wolverine. Those are the ones that are upcoming, right?
Choose your weapons.
Then there's also, like, TBA, Con... There's some game that's apparently... Yeah, there's some games that are, apparently announced, but I don't know how much I trust. What is the ST the slow one? 105 for 3 per second. We'll see. Stingray, Volcano. Oh, Stingray ST2. That's really good.
Save current game data.
Okay.
Think long and hard about which weapons you'll take into battle. You can only
computer,
take 2
please
with
cooperate.
you, so it's a good idea to carry 2 different types for versatility.
Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. Whatever you say. So, what's the next mission? Oh.
Choose your weapons.
We'll go with this loadout then, sure. Like, and from the other games that have been released, it's Helldivers 2, Midnight Murder Club, fucking some more stuff, because for some reason this is not ordered correctly. But basically, they really haven't released that much stuff. And from the stuff they have released, a lot of it's been kind of shit.
Storm 1, destroy the hole now.
There's a helicopter up there, by the way. You want to... If you want to use it, you can... destroy the entire building, though, what did I even skip out on? Is it, Oh, yeah, this. Okay, so these ones kind of suck, but... Here it is. It fires, but... it's not very powerful.
We'll back you up.
The point of it is that it moves around quickly. Now, if I could call the vehicle in, like if I was an air raider in EDF4 and EDF5, it'd be amazing. However, it's kind of clunky, it's kind of janky, and it takes a lot of self-damage if you knock into things while driving around, so it is not the best vehicle to use. Come on. Yeah, like you see, we can either do that, or we can just run up to them and shoot them, yeah. Basically, if enemies are near, you want to get off the vehicle so that the enemy doesn't destroy the vehicle. I think they killed it moments before I shot my rocket, so the rocket went through and into the building. I have a feeling, yeah, the EDF is not very competent. Okay, stop. Stop. Yeah, okay. Shockingly, we're still at 85 health, though I feel like that's gonna change soon. Oh, okay. We want to attack from one side. So, yeah. The number one important thing with any, like, you know, with the EDF, the enemy should be in front of you, and, you shouldn't be in a situation where you're completely surrounded by enemies, unless they're air enemies. Then it depends on the type of air enemy. There are these one, and there's this one, like, upgraded fly enemy in EDF4 that, shoots, like, near hit-scan weapons, basically. They're not actually hit-scan, I don't think, but they're really fast. And when those guys surround you, it is actually tough. But the normal basic flying enemies aren't really an issue. But if the ground enemies surround you, it's all about mobility, really. You know, if you can't move away, then you're kind of forced to take a lot of damage, and you're kind of boned. Okay. Shit. Okay, even more enemies, because there's another... Okay. You want to target the nest. Nest is down. Also, EDF3 was the first EDF game to replace 2D items with actual 3D models, which is good because it means they can roll down like the side of a cliff and don't get stuck there, so you don't have to like climb up after them. But it's bad. Oh, we just blew up the vehicle with self-damage. Oops. It's good because it's obviously good to, you know, have that not get stuck, but it's bad because sometimes if you, like, blow up a spaceship, the things will fly down, and because the game uses Havoc for ragdoll physics, sometimes the, like, weapon crates can go flying away. But also they're generally much larger, so I think it's overall a benefit. Like, physically, the crates are larger and easier to see. Honestly, yeah, I don't know, I kind of miss the ragdoll physics, where you can genuinely get flung for, like, maybe not miles, well, depends what you get hit by, but it is really funny. Like, it can completely screw you, you can just die and lose because you get, like, ragdolled into a, rather unfortunate position, but, it's the rule of funny. Kind of like the rule of cool, but less cool. Oh, yeah, and if you're wondering, you can totally go up the buildings. Just be careful, you know? I feel like the problem is the buildings are a little too destructible for what they are. So there's no point in really climbing them when a few shots will take them down. At least in battle mode. Because, yes... at least some of these games have a PvP mode. Because they also have a normal multiplayer mode, so... why not, like, let you do the battle mode if we already have PvP, you know? So there's another nest somewhere here. Which, is pooping out the bugs. Okay. Well, I know where the nest is. It's right around the corner. Yeah, I don't know why I've been thinking about this. Maybe because I've literally seen the video, but there are these, like, videos. One of the funniest things that I've seen, well, not maybe funny, but generally, to me, kind of amusing, is, of course, this is, like, an older internet concept, but it's the idea of, like, basically cognito hazards, conceptually. It's a very... I mean, the reason why it works is because it's a very sort of Cthulhuan sort of concept. The concept of just, like, there are things that you are better off, like, not knowing exist because... Well, in the original way, like, in the original sort of, interpretation, from my understanding, is, like, the reason something like Cthulhu will make you mad, or will make you go mad, is because, like, it is just so incomprehensible, it makes no sense, and understanding it will just plunge you into the darkness, trying to make sense of things which don't make sense, and therefore you go insane. However, then on the internet, that turned into, there's this image of a smiling dog, which will make you its next target if you view it. And I've recently seen a YouTuber who covered some creepypasta game, like some old creepypasta game, just have a hat
Select your weapons
with the
before
fucking
deploy.
smile
Choose your
dog.
weapons. You may
And
equip
that
up to
is,
2
I
weapons at once.
find that really funny, because it's one of those in-jokes that you don't have to explain. You'll just have people randomly laugh when they see
Save
it,
current game data.
and that'll just be enough. You'll just, it's
Select your weapons before
I guess it's a
deployment.
dog whistle,
You
but
can
for
carry up to
once,
2 weapons at once.
a positive one
The
in
number of
comparison to how
weapons
that
you can
term's
choose
usually
from is
used.
small at first, but that will increase as you find new weapons during the game. There are many different weapons. So do
Is there
your
a
best
way to
find them all.
player settings? Is there a way to just tell it not to talk specifically in the main menu? Whatever. See you next time when we... Bye!